Today at Let's Talk Marketplace, we talk about
the latest Zalando update for the annual 2023 figures and how their stagnating turnover affects their marketplace partners.
And we also take this opportunity to talk about the B2C marketplace landscape for fashion and shoes in Europe as a whole and how dramatically it changed in the last year. Let's get started. Let's Talk Marketplace.
The Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.
Hello, everyone. It's high time to talk about fashion. Last week, everyone in the German marketplace business talked about the Otto figures, which were so-and-so. And this week, everyone is discussing the Zalando update for 2023. So yes, fashion has to come back into the podcast. So welcome to episode 55 of Let's Talk Marketplace. And I need my fashion queen. Valerie, are you ready?
Born ready, as you well know, and not tired at all today. And I'm happy that we record this episode in English because while we have spoken several times about fashion marketplaces already, that was mainly in German, and my network grew so much with international contacts. So I'm really, really glad that we can spread our word even wider and that I can say in my workshops, you can listen to this episode in English.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think it's also fitting. After all, there are a lot of international marketplaces which are relevant for the fashion industry. And additionally, this is a marketplace landscape that has changed dramatically in the last year, hasn't it?
Absolutely. It's high time for an update on my most favorite topic, the online fashion marketplaces and the relevant ones. Also, for an update for the Marketplace Quadrant, we had one of our first episodes about this topic almost 2 years ago. On this podcast, and it was one of our first episodes of Let's Talk Marketplace, and since then I have updating the quadrant regularly, so the quadrant is there for a year now, and last time September, and what shall I say, a lot has changed since just September.
Yeah, it's the pace there is quite astonishing. Anyway, so this calls for a good old one-on-one podcast session, just you and me. So I guess instead of a guest, you are, as our resident online fashion expert, are now here. And so we get to talk about fashion and marketplaces for a whole episode. As a courtesy to our new listeners, shall we do some quick introductions?
Yes, please.
Okay, right. So, Valerie, who are you and what do you know about fashion?
So, I am Valerie Dichtel and I'm doing fashion e-commerce for 13 years already. I also studied this, worked for Bogner, sports brand, worked for Amazon as a vendor manager on the dark side, changed to the other side to a vendor, and I had to build up the online wholesale business and marketplace business for this brand, also a fashion brand. And then, budget cuts took me to, we need to really start with marketplace business. How shall we do this? And there I am. Afterwards, after I brought them to marketplace business, I started my own career, like my self-employment. And since then I'm consulting fashion sports brands mainly, build up the marketplace only, and started this podcast with you.
Yeah. And what do you do best in the marketplace business? What's your USP?
My USP is I love to connect people in various ways. I connect brands with service partners, marketplaces with brands, consult brands and service partners, educated marketplace business. I communicate a lot about marketplace business with you here on this podcast for almost 2 years now, on LinkedIn almost daily right now. And I would say I'm a mixture between a speaker, educator, networker, B2B influencer, thought leader, you name it. So, and recently someone gave me the name the Marketplace Queen, so I took this in my LinkedIn profile. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. And together with me, you're also co-founder of the Marketplace Universe. So what do we do with that one?
Yeah, what do we do with that one? Actually, our biggest release this year, and I'm really, really glad that we did our next step together, Ingrid. We want to create a home for all the marketplace people in Europe. We want to connect the people, communicate about all the marketplace topics, and consult also all of them. So, but to turn it around, Ingrid, who is our audience and who are our customers?
As with any media company, these two things differ a bit because our listeners, readers, and followers are marketplace people from all over Europe, marketplace managers, e-commerce execs from brands and retailers who sell on online platforms or who want to learn more about this business. And there are companies such as Lacoste or Odlo or Tamara's, Clinton Group, Tom Taylor, Hugo Boss, just to name the fashion ones, as this is a fashion episode. So there are many others as well. And on the customer side, we work with marketplaces, so like Allegro, for example, or Zalando or eBay, or with marketplace service providers such as TradeByte, Octopia, or Market Supply. Happy?
Well, there will be so much more to say, but I guess, as always, you're already nervously glancing at the clock saying, let's go, we are out of time. But before we start into our news of the week, let's have a look at an interesting event from our partner and sponsor, Adobe.
Indeed. It's time for a kind of different event for us, Valerie, isn't it? This time it's not all about marketplaces, which is the event that we normally go to. It's more an event which supports us to get more insights for our daily work in e-commerce and online work. So the Adobe Summit 2024 is around the corner. And Valerie, you've been all over this. Why is this event even on your radar?
Well, absolutely, Ingrid. I am a thought leader and supporting this event online. That's the reason why I have it on my radar. The Adobe Summit is a hub for transformative ideas in digital marketing and e-commerce, happening live in Las Vegas from the 26th to the 27th of March, and sessions online. And this is the more important part for us because I'm not flying to Las Vegas. And yeah, it's a gathering for anyone serious about staying ahead in our industry. So...
yeah, okay. And I hear it's free to register online, right?
Absolutely. It's the perfect chance to see how Adobe's innovation, especially in AI, can scale our content and refine customer experiences. I'll be tuning in for sessions on AI in e-commerce and efficient content strategies. These are insights we actually can all use, and I will also write about it.
Great. So can you tell me more about these key areas?
Sure. The summit is going to cover a wide array from Gen AI and content management to commerce, B2B marketing, and general tech trends for inspiration. I am gearing up for Adobe's session on how we can leverage AI in e-commerce. And there's also a session where it's about how we can use PDFs and get a faster output from it, because it took me hours to look into the annual report of Zalando, to be very honest. If I found a faster solution for that, I will be so happy about it. Yeah.
All right. So what about those who can't join live next week?
Yeah, well, because live is also American time zone, so it's also in the evening. If you can't attend live, all keynote sessions will be available to rewatch on Adobe's YouTube channel. And you can just register easily on summit.adobe.com to sign up. And happy to see your thoughts about the Adobe Summit there.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Okay, so that was the short note from our sponsor, Adobe. I think we should go over to the Newsflash now and have a look at what happened last week in the marketplace business, because there has been a lot of things happening.
So interesting, right, Ingrid? We had always 2 weeks, and we had the similar amount of news in every 2 weeks. And now we do every week podcast, and it's a similar amount. It's really crazy.
This is actually one of the basic things you learn as a journalist. The newspaper always gets full. Yes. It's just one of those things. It's no matter how much happened or how less happened, there's always enough to talk about. Yeah. And of course, in the last, when we were still bi-weekly, I was cutting down the news heavily. So we couldn't be talking about news like the whole episode. So now we have a bit more time to look into stuff that is going on and that I might not have brought up in a bi-weekly thing all the time. But I also have the feeling that the amount of things happening in this business are going up. There's more going on. It might be because both of us are looking more international now. Me too. So you get more insights from outside Germany as well. Newsflash. For example, the Temu marketplace has launched in the USA. They started out with around about 1,000 Chinese sellers, just Chinese sellers, not American sellers, but those who have an inventory in the US already. So that is brand new off the press. So Temu gearing up, I would say, to attack the biggest e-commerce market and to maybe get a share of what TikTok Shop is already doing there. So how are you looking at this? Is Temu marketplace coming to Europe soon, do you think?
I would say if now the Chinese starting in the US, we still have a bit of time till Chinese are starting in Europe, and then Europe's are joining on Temu. But let's see. As you said, the time and is rapidly like the growth is also increasing. So, and everyone is looking for different opportunities. So let's see.
Speaking of growth, Shein is now on the EU's list of very large platforms. So the EU, I read, has contacted the company to discuss the associated regulatory requirements that are now alleged for very large online platforms. So a spokesperson of the EU Commission said. And the EU estimates the number of monthly active Shein users in the EU at 108 million people. So that's quite a lot. So of course it's a very large online platform. And what I see is that the European institutions are gathering information on these Asian players, more information that they had before. So there's these numbers of active users that the EU has. And last week I attended a webinar by a big German market research institute called IFA Köln, and they also had some estimation about what Shein and Temu together are generating in turnover in the German market alone. They say those two companies together might get a turnover of around about 2 billion euro already now. So, yeah, the mist is clearing up a bit on those companies, I think.
Maybe I should change my opinion.
What, on the marketplaces itself?
Don't worry, you don't need them.
Yeah, I think that might become outdated very fast.
Yeah, I have this feeling too.
Yeah, but I'm happy that we are at least getting some numbers on these companies because so far no one really knew what they were dealing with. Anyway, what else do I have? Sportcheck, one of the German sport retailers, the bigger retailers, and belonging to the Signa Retail Group, which went into insolvency last year. And Sportcheck now at least has found a savior. The Italian Salva Group is joining as an investor. So the business is supposed to be continuing in its current form, it says. I have not been able to find out whether this affects the marketplace as well. I read this morning, though, that the main brick-and-mortar store, the Sportcheck in Munich, is going to close down, which is
but this was clear already before. Yeah.
Yeah, was it?
Yes. Because, yeah. Okay. It was. CNA is coming in.
Oh, I see. Right.
The rent was too high. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, it's often the case.
Yeah, Sportcheck is from Munich, and the biggest store in Munich is closing.
Yeah, something that we all grew up with. I think the Sportcheck in the middle of the city. But do you have any insights on the marketplace? Do you know if that's going to continue?
But if anyone has insights about Sportcheck marketplace,
let us know. Yeah, let us know. Right. Anything else that I would like to mention? Maybe a big change of leadership in one of the biggest German fashion companies, which is the Otto Group. And the Otto Group belongs to the family Otto for years and years and years. And the old patriarch Michael Otto has been leading the company for, 30, 40 years, like forever, I think. He announced that he's going to hand over the business to his son Benjamin in 2026. And we also have a change in the operational management, which has been led by Alexander Birken, also for a long time. And he's going to hand over this operational management next year, in 2025, to the current CFO, Petra Schane-Wolf. So What do you think about that?
Lot of changes at Otto. It seems like they are like changing almost everything right now. Let's see how they how their strategy will evolve. Also, marketplace business. We talked about this in the last episode.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Well, they have to do something. The figures weren't very good.
Yeah.
So I must say, because I'm a bit of a cynic sometimes, but I looked at that news and I thought, okay, things are going bad, so call in the woman. Another one of those. Am I being too cynic? What you say? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is such a male company. The whole Otto Group is a very male management, and now they're calling for Mrs. Shana Wolf when things are looking really grim. Okay.
Yeah, but also the numbers lady. So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the finance lady. So.
Yeah.
Let's see how that works out. I wish her the best, of course,
yes,
but
of course.
I couldn't keep myself from getting a bit cynical on that. I guess that's the main things. Or does you have anything to add apart from Zalando, of course, the figures which we are going to talk about in our main topic?
No, I think, there's a lot of else to talk about. Let's come to our main topic, I would say.
Yes, I think so. But before we do that, a very quick word on our sponsor, Market Supply.
Are you a brand, especially in the DIY and garden industry, feeling the struggle between working with a retailer as a wholesale partner or selling on their platform as a marketplace seller? Then Market Supplies might be an interesting solution for you.
Yes, our partner is a marketplace as a service provider focusing on the DIY industry, and they promise their brand customers to combine the full flexibility of a marketplace business with the organizational chill of a wholesale business. So what do they mean by that, Valerie?
Well, if you're a brand, a marketplace as a service provider such as Market Supply can take over the full marketplace business for you. That means the brand decides which of their products they want to sell on what marketplace for which price. And then the service provider takes over and does all the rest, like onboarding, logistics. They list the products on the marketplaces, handle the full customer interaction and logistics, and the full communication with the marketplaces too. So the brand keeps control on pricing and picks the appropriate channels, and the service provider makes sure that their brand's products are being present live in the best possible way on the marketplaces. The idea is all the benefits from both worlds with none of the hassle.
Sounds good. Sounds expensive too.
Always your opinion on that. Well, of course, the service provider takes a fee for their services generally on the generated turnover, but building your own marketplace business and team from scratch isn't cheaper either.
That's very true, of course. So if marketplace as a service is something that you might find interesting, I'd suggest listening to our episode 53. There, Henning Hiesen from our partner, Market Supply, was our guest, and he valiantly answered all our questions, no matter how pressing, on the subject. And it's in English too, so check it out.
Yeah, and if you want to check out Market Supply, make sure to write Henning Hiesen under the keyword Marketplace Universe. That will earn you a free onboarding to their services worth €800.
Okay, so now let's get going with our topic of the week. It's high time to polish up those fashion quadrant of yours, Valerie, and of course to look at some interesting industry figures.
Topic of the week.
Let's jump right in. Few numbers first. I collected some interesting figures from CB Commerce, who always look at the whole European market, and they estimate the overall European online fashion market to have a turnover of around about 122 billion euro in 2022. The figures for 2023 aren't already out. So that means about a fourth of the whole fashion industry turnover is made online. And of this online turnover, marketplaces account for nearly half of all online fashion transactions in Europe. And we might have a closer look at one of the biggest European markets for fashion, which is Germany. And there we see a similar development. 23.6% of the fashion and shoes market share with almost 20 billion euro turnover go to the online sales in Germany. according to the HDE, the biggest German association for the retail industry. The final figures for 2023 haven't been revealed yet, but I was allowed to have a little sneak peek last week. And there the HDE says that they expect the segment to stagnate for 2023. Which is better than decreasing, I guess. So they estimate a decrease somewhere between something between a decrease of 1% and a growth of 3%. So basically stagnation. And in the German market as well, marketplaces play a decisive role for the fashion online business. And when we go to the biggest players, of course, there's Zalando in Europe, of course, Amazon as well, About You. And when we go back to a discussion of the news, I guess I should add Shein now. Not really instead of Otto, but additionally. But who knows? Let's see. Okay, now over to Zalando. They launched their annual report for 2023 last week, and they are still the leading marketplace for most of our listeners and brands in the fashion business. So we have a small deep dive into the numbers first, and then we can talk about the marketplace quadrant for fashion as a whole. So Zalando first. They presented their figures for 2023, and I think a lot of people in the industry were listening closely because there was a lot of things going on with Zalando last year. You might remember the whole kicking brands off the platform and starting their own multi-channel fulfillment with SEOs. So lots of things happening. Valerie, you've been listening into the press conference. What are your main takeaways?
Yeah, well, it was quite interesting. Actually, overall, Zalando decreased a bit in their fashion store GMV, slightly, 300 million euro. But what I see is that they have grown in EBIT. So they really took the focus on like being more profitable themselves. But what is really interesting, so they had a partner program share, which also includes connected retail, or a partner share in Q4 2022 of 36% and in 2023 of 39%. And on average in whole 2023 of 34 full year. But this is really, you have to really, like there are 5 different documents, you have to really dig really deep to find out where is those sharing, this partner share figures in total. So it's always like a game where you have to look very deep into all the reports. And what's quite interesting, because in the past years, they always said we will have like a 50% partner share till 2025. Now we're on average of 34, and already last year, I said on LinkedIn, I don't know how they want to really do this. And they also had their original goal of 30 billion euro GMV till 2025. And now what we see is that they set up a new strategy, not having any word about that the original goal of 2025 is obsolete. And now they said like, okay, we have a new goal in 2028. And they want to have like 40 to 50% partner share. And I was like, okay, yeah. And also the growth numbers were also like, yeah, we want to grow a bit. So maybe 0 to 5% every year in GMV. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Really? 0 to 5%?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 30 billion euro in 2025 is quite unrealistic. And so we see they are slowing down in growth. And also they changed from we want to be the fashion starting point in Europe. Now they really focus on, like they said, strong brand partnerships, also moving from platform to an ecosystem with SEOs. And they also said they're more decisive in their wholesale buying. I would say overall they're pretty decisive also in brand approvals for marketplace business, because they kicked out last year many brands who were not matching to their quality goal, let's say, because they kicked out many brands and said like, we don't want to focus on quantity, we want to focus on quality. And this is what we can see all over in the numbers of 2023 if I look at the annual report of Zalando.
But are they focusing on quality, or are they focusing on profitability?
I would say they're focused officially on quality, which means on profitability.
Yeah, that's what it looks like actually from here. I think that these numbers are quite interesting, especially if they set out to have a growth of 0 to 5%. I mean, this is the company that has been doing double digits in growth for years and years and years, and now this is like they're pulling all the brakes, it seems. So that's quite interesting.
But for example, they're like really pushing for multi-channel fulfillment with SEOs.
Yeah.
And this is also what you can see. For example, they also wrote that in 2022, there were 58% of all items shipped through partner programs, so through ZFS. And in 2023, it was already 62%. And now, if they really focus on SEOs, because they also split their whole strategy into a B2C strategy and a separate B2B strategy. They're really pushing hard with SEOs and also additional services. So really to be an ecosystem for, to say like, okay, we have our stock already at ZFS. Now we can also ship our stock to About You clients, to ASOS clients, to Amazon clients, and to our own online shop. And this is where they really push a lot. So additional services, which,
so this might be a goal from 2021 that is still valid, because if I remember correctly, they also had the goal to take up the rate of fulfillment of the rate of the how to say this?
To increase the logistic costs.
But they said that they wanted in 2025 they wanted to fulfill 75% of all the orders of their third-party sellers of the marketplace. And this was like their goal, one of the goals from this sheet in 2021. And I think this is obviously this seems to be one of the goals that they are keeping, because they are really pushing for this third-party fulfillment stuff.
Yeah, and they really set up a huge team for it. And you can see them all over. Quite interesting how they will reach their goals and how they will approach the market in total. Because I think it's quite interesting on the one hand, and it's also challenging sometimes for brands to make yourself dependent. But to be very honest, Amazon, for example, has also multi-channel fulfillment and FBA. And I say that the good thing is that there's finally someone who's really able to do fashion properly.
Yeah.
Like true. Hanging goods and special returns, etc. Yeah.
Let's focus a bit on what this strategy of Zalando means for the marketplace partners and the brands selling on the marketplace. So is this good news or bad news that the platform is growing significantly faster than Zalando's own business?
Well, I would say for marketplace partners it's quite good, because last year there was, if I stayed on the platform, it has now a cleaner approach. So it's like less brands. And also the brand approvals are not anymore like, oh, we want to have a brand approval. Okay, let's go to all 26 countries. Where do you want to go first? Now it's like we give you a brand approval for your main country and for another one maybe. And then we can do this, expand step by step. So I would say there is maybe a bit less offer, but more qualified offer for the target group Zalando has. They're also focusing more on sports, for example, and also pushing out new tools, for example, something AI topic related to sizes, which also decreased their size-related return rate by 14%. And the big challenge for Zalando is that Zalando is the one, I think, of all marketplaces in Europe who has in Germany the highest return rates of all. And they really need to focus on lowering down the return rate, because this is often a case why brands are moving away from Zalando, because they say, especially in Germany, it's insane how the return rate is. We cannot do this profitable.
Yeah, well, this is what Zalando built their business on, after all.
Yeah.
Schrei für Glück oder schick's zurück. That was like the main topic on all their advertisement when they started out. Is if you don't like it, just send it back. No problem at all.
Yeah, and now they really have to some away still from this slogan. Yeah.
Okay, so but that also means if you are a brand which is not on Zalando yet, or which has been pushed out last year, it will be very hard in the future to integrate Zalando into your marketplace strategy, isn't it? Because you can't be sure that they will take you.
Yeah, it's more challenging, definitely. So you really have to prove as a brand that you are interesting for them. And what we can also see is that, I mean, they really pushed in the past Zalando Connected Retail, which was for retailers.
Well, that's basically dead.
Yeah, it's not dead, but they also put the teams together of Partner Program and Connected Retail, and they increased the prices for Connected Retail. So, yeah, I would say there's slowing to death. Yeah, slowing down to death. Yeah, but I mean, all over partner share is still very, very important. So I just would say that resellers are less and focuses more on brands, quality, high fashion, premium, where they took a lot of effort into it. Yeah.
Yeah, leaving the quantity and the lower priced products for Shein, it seems, and maybe for Amazon Fashion.
Could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that's Zalando. Shall we talk about the marketplace quadrant as a whole now? Or do you have anything to add on Zalando?
No, I would say like Zalando will also cross our ways in the next weeks again. So no.
Yeah. Definitely.
Let's talk about the marketplace quadrant.
Yes.
There was no ACTA alarm.
No, it wasn't, I think. Because you looked so deep into the numbers, but it's I know the numbers of Zalando is not that easy to dissect them, because they are good at hiding the interesting stuff.
It's true.
Right.
You have to be a truffle pig.
Yes.
That's
right.
true.
So let's have a look at the marketplace quadrant. Maybe first, for those very few, hopefully, listeners who don't know what the marketplace quadrant is, maybe say a few words about it. What is it?
Yeah. Well, actually, last year I invented the marketplace quadrant, which is actually an overview where I put together on a X and Y axis an overview about all the relevant marketplaces for a dedicated category. In our case today, we talk about fashion and shoes marketplaces. We have also marketplace quadrants for sports, baby, kids, beauty, home and living, and so on and so on. You can always look out the newest updates on LinkedIn, on my profile, Valerie Dichtel, or also on Ingrid's profile, Ingrid Lommer. And what's so interesting is that I started it last year and started with fashion and shoes. So what we do is like we we put logos together for all the marketplace relevant all the relevant marketplaces, for example, fashion and shoes in Europe.
Concentrating on B2C and just in Europe, yeah.
Yeah, and we put them on the X-axis from budget segment to premium segment, and on the Y-axis from everything marketplace like Amazon to specialized marketplace in this category. I would love to put all together the logos and by turnover in this category in Europe, but it's simply impossible. So
you won't get the numbers for that. So
no, it's really impossible to get those numbers in detail. So this is a conglomeration of and a summary of my expertise, comments from the industry, from our guests, and fashion and shoes in this case is pretty much on my on my side. So in September we had a last overview with 54 different marketplaces, and well, a lot of things happened already, and we are now at 50 marketplaces. So, but yeah, we already knew that some marketplaces went out. So, to give you an update, New In is Fashion Days in Eastern Europe. It's not a new marketplace, but they are focusing on Romania, for example, and other Eastern European countries and doing fashion completely. We have some logos put on the side because we say they are shaky due to bankruptcy, or it's like not clear how they will move forward. For example, Farfetch, Inno, KaDeWe, and also Globus. KaDeWe is looking for an investor. Breuninger is interested, but also the Central Group from Thailand. So there is,
it's not decided yet what happens to that one.
Yeah, it's really interesting what happens. I'm also sure that Farfetch will not go down, but who knows? Yeah, we were surprised already last year. My Toys in Mirapodo finally closed. Catchin as a marketplace is also not available anymore. Galeria I also put down because it's really irrelevant. And Gertz as a shoes marketplace in Germany, they have no team anymore. So even though they are still a marketplace, I don't know. And what we also see, and they're still on the overview, is that Trendyol closed their German team. They were really pushing a lot in the past, I would say, 2 to 3 years. And now they closed this team. And Yoox also onboarded too many brands. Now they focus back to luxury products with discount. But overall, 50 different relevant marketplaces. And now it's your choice. Where shall I go online first? Or where shall I expand to, right?
Right. I would just add to the list of marketplaces that you had to take down the Klinger Group, because they also went bankrupt last year. So there has been a lot of change. Well, as luxury is the thing of the moment, everyone wants to go for luxury. Let's have a look maybe at the section that where you put the specialized marketplaces and those that are going for the premium segment. So what do you see there?
Well, actually, on those premium luxury marketplaces and specialized one, there we have at the top, at the very, very end of the top, 24s.com. I'm pretty sure I spoke it out not correctly because it's a French marketplace and I don't speak any French. But these are like the most luxurious marketplace, I would say, which is available. It's more for brands like, I don't know, Chanel, Louboutin, and all those brands, yeah. So really, really, really premium. And below of that, I would have put Farfetch, but we put Farfetch on the side. We have some other big players like in the premium part, I would say Breuninger, which is quite important for Germany. It's a big retailer, and they're really doing a very good job in marketplace business. And they're also pretty picky. So it's really hard to get in. But if you are in, I got really, really good feedback overall from the industry, then we have Yoox as an Italian marketplace, also selling to like whole Europe and US. They are happy to get your discounted premium goods. We have smaller ones, Sarenza, Minto, Printemps, Harrods a bit bigger, but Harvey Nichols, the Bijenkorf, which are also on this list, or Van Graaf in Germany. But they are smaller. Then we have, of course, Debenhams. We have Weckham from the Netherlands, which is similar to Breuninger, but for the Netherlands. We have El Corte Inglés, a Spanish marketplace. But also sometimes we have marketplaces, they are really open to talk, and sometimes they are really hiding. It's really difficult to find out like how, for example, ASOS is working. ASOS is a thing at a marketplace. I got many questions, but it's almost impossible to get anything out of them.
Yeah,
so
if they even a real marketplace, or if this is more of a drop shipping business, it's really hard to decide that.
Yeah, definitely. And we have also, for example, then the Frenchies, Galeries Lafayette and La Redoute. Then we have Modivo, for example, in Poland, and Mano in Switzerland, which are on this overview. And for example, there's also Best Secret, is a German marketplace for it's called Best Secret, where they also sell discounted fashion and premium products. But if I'm asking them, because I know them quite well, it's like, can I have more insights? And then they're like, no. No. We just ask the brands we're already working with, and then see if we can expand to them. We don't need any publicity. We don't want to talk about it. It's like fine how we have it. Yeah,
like really secret. What I sometimes hear is when we go out with the newest quadrant, they always, you can count on them to come along and say, could you move our logo a bit more to the right, because we are actually selling premium stuff, discounted but premium. Could you move us over? And I think we're both like, you can tell us a bit more about what you're doing, and then we can move your logo, because we don't know anything about you, and because you don't say. But this is something that they always keep saying. But apart from that, not much.
Yeah, and we have also big players. If I would say, tell me the 4 or 3 biggest players for fashion in Europe, definitely it's Amazon, Zalando, and then About You, and third place is, depending on the country, I would say Otto. Is it in Germany? Definitely.
Is About You so important for the European business, would you say, or is this more of a German thing?
No, About You is also covering 25 different markets like Zalando. So in country coverage, it's important. About You is also pretty restrictive in brand approvals right now, and it's hard to get in. And but there are still, I did a comparison with Zalando, I think a year ago, and About You was, I think, 1/5 of Zalando size. So, much smaller.
The figures are coming out in May, so that's going to be interesting.
So then there's also a comparison plan. Then we have a lot of marketplaces who are, I would call them everything marketplaces, but they are still pretty important. For example, Amazon, of course, bol.com, Allegro for Poland, Bol for the Netherlands, Amazon for complete Europe, Kaufland for Germany, but maybe more on basics. eMark in Eastern Europe. EMAG is also new on this page. And eBay, for example, for second-hand, and Beware, and Limango for families, for example. We have H&M there. We have smaller marketplaces like
wait before you go into that segment, because we are now moving over on the quadrant to the left. And I wanted to ask specifically about those, because we have, what I see here is sort of a cluster in the area of premium specialized, and another cluster in the area of budget specialized. So, and I think if I remember the old quadrants correctly, this area on the left side has also changed, because there are new players there. There are some players that have popped up in the last years, like Miravia, for example. And so there are several marketplaces that are concentrating on this budget segment that the other marketplaces won't touch. So we have sort of a split in the middle in this market, is it?
Yeah, that's true. So the thing is, like, in this part of specialized marketplace is in luxury. There's like almost no space anymore, and like all the other areas are a bit like thin or thinner, I would say. We have this bucket of all the everything marketplaces, like we have in the, I would say, country heroes, and then we have also this budget segment specialized marketplace where we can see a lot of different marketplaces who are also focused on price entry products, but also are shopping clubs sometimes, right? So Best Secret also is a shopping club. Outlet City Metzingen is a shopping club. WP is a shopping club. Secret Sales is a shopping club. Showroom Privé is a shopping club. I think Brand Alley as well. Miravia is also a bit difficult to enter from Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they were pushing like madly last year, also
yeah.
in Germany, so it's hard to get in.
Yeah, I mean, as a customer.
Yeah, okay.
I Spanish, and I'm from Germany, so I couldn't download the app.
Yeah, okay.
For example. And then we have a Found, for example, which is also the, I would say, the discount marketplace from H&M. Trendyol, but we also said that they slowed down, right? We have Shein here, Brand Alley. So on this left corner, I would say there are more the shopping clubs kind of marketplaces. Yeah.
Which also means if you're a brand, a fashion brand for the budget segment, then Shein is sort of important.
Whoa, I don't know. But even,
you shouldn't ignore it after all.
No, you shouldn't ignore it. Of course not. But you should keep an eye on it, definitely. But even our budget products are more expensive than Shein products often. And I would say for lower average sales price items, let's say it like that. Yeah. It's even for many marketplaces difficult to make it profitable to sell them. So here it's really like, okay, how can we sell it even on Shein profitable? So I didn't had a insight about how is the commission rate at Shein and what are the logistic opportunities here? But this is often the case. If I have already products who are discounted and I still have to sell them on online marketplaces, the margin gets really, really, really thin. And it's a mixed calculation. So I'm aware of like, okay, I'm selling those products, but I know I don't make any profit anymore with it, but I'm happy that I sold it and that it's like freeing my logistics center from old stock. Yeah,
might be an interesting topic for one of our episodes. Doing a business case for Shein. Just trying to, it might be difficult to research, but that might be really
difficult to research and difficult to calculate.
Yes,
I would guess. But
might be a challenge,
And I mean, Shein is not doing just fashion, right? But fashion is the whole topic of return rates, and this makes it even more difficult. That's the whole big thing about fashion. Why did I specialize on fashion? Is because it's compared to all other marketplace businesses, and I include sports fashion there as well it's same, but different, as I usually say, because we have seasonalities. We have so many new products every half year, sometimes every month, due to seasonality, due to different variations, number of sizes. We have the return rates. We have hanging goods. It's really crazy, but return rate is really a big thing for us. I mean, we have average return rates, I would say, at Amazon of like 35%. In fashion, we have at Amazon maybe 50 and up. So it's always depending on the category. Of course, I have lower return rates on socks compared to bras or dresses. Or in shoes, I have higher return rates in high heels than on slippers. But overall, if we compare it, for example, with consumer electronics, I compared it once, the business case, with a guy from consumer electronics. And I was like, where's your return rate in your business case? He's like, I don't care. I was like,
don't
but
need
I
one.
care a lot. I care. It's like most important for me. And he was like, yeah, it's somewhere at the end. I was like,
negligible.
Yeah, we have 3%. I was like, yeah, lucky you.
Go away. Yeah.
No,
right. Okay, so we already have nearly have our 15 minutes full, so I would say we'll conclude this discussion on the quadrant for now. We're putting it up, of course, the latest version of it.
You can
it's
watch
on your
it on
LinkedIn already,
It's already
I think,
online.
when this episode comes out. And I'll link it in the show notes as well. So, right, thanks for that update. I'm curious to see when the next update will have to happen, because there's so much happening at the moment. It might be just 3 months or something.
There are so many ones leaving, and now it's like, okay, if they left and they left and they left, we need to find some new ways. So this is what I feel right now in the industry is like, where shall we go next? Shall we explore new countries, new markets, new marketplaces? Like, where shall we go? And that's quite interesting, because diversification is also in marketplace business pretty important. It's not good if you say like, yeah, we just count on Zalando. We saw how that was for many brands last year. So, and you can also name it for Amazon or Auto or whatever. So yeah, I think the most important thing is that you have like a naturally grown, good diversified marketplace business, and also try out new markets, which is so interesting, and also easier in the marketplace business.
Definitely. Right. So thanks to you for listening. And if you liked our episode, we would be happy if you could rate it on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you are listening to it. And of course, do follow us on LinkedIn, comment what marketplaces you are using. We are always interested in your feedback and your insights.
Yeah, so, and also if you see something new or something, like always comment on all of our quadrants. Yes. We are more than happy to change it in the next time. And yeah, happy to hear you next time. What are we talking about next time, Ingrid?
Next week, we'll be back to German. It's our German week, and we talk with our guest, Markus Nessler, about how to sell on marketplaces. And
no, we talk about Markus Nessler. He is a German advocate, and we are talking about how shall I say it in English? It's about how can we say our resellers and retailers what they are allowed to sell online. So it's more about what's the German word?
Controlling your sales channels, I guess, and controlling what your retailers are doing with your products on
and
marketplaces.
Legal ways and non-legal ways, and how you can make it easier instead of like rolling out something like Remova.
Yeah, exactly. Gonna be an interesting episode, I think.
Yes.
Right. Then hear you next time, or in 2 weeks in English again. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
You listen to Let's Talk Marketplace,
the Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.